Beam is built on the premise that we just can't rely on psychiatrists and therapists and social workers for our communities to be able to heal.
He's doing his best to address mental health, and all month long, this Black History Month, we've been honoring local Black visionaries. This morning we have the founder of BEAM, which stands for Black Emotional and Mental Health Collective, on our program.
Yolo Akili Robinson here to talk about healing justice and how he's helping our most marginalized communities. Yolo, good morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
He's freezing. He
I
just
know.
got out of the cold and
You're
the rain.
braving the elements to be here this morning.
I made it.
You did. So, one thing that you talk about and you believe in strongly is that we can't one-on-one therapy our way out of a mental health crisis. Instead, you say we need community to help us get through things and to go on that healing journey together. What have you seen for people that have chosen to pull on community and lean on community instead of one-on-one?
Absolutely. Great question. And the first piece I want to be really clear about is that therapy is a critical intervention that we need, and we need one-on-one care. And for many folks, one-on-one care may not be their entry point for healing and wellness for their journey. That group work is really critical, right? Whether you're a mother struggling with postpartum, whether you're a new father or someone struggling with depression, being able to see yourself reflected in other people's struggles and challenges, knowing that you're not alone, helps helps address the disconnection and isolation that many people feel. And not only is the group and the group circle work really important in that context, it's also helpful on the journey as you're trying to learn new things, like with medication or with navigating care. If you have someone else who's in the group who's been through it, or who also knows what that's like, having that peer support is critical. And so that's why we really focus on building up our community across the country to really think about how do we do more group work, how do we do more healing circles, more community care.
Many of us have grown up in communities or families where there is a stigma in discussing mental health issues, and you've talked about ways we can all systematically change how mental health is viewed. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is acknowledging that, right? That we all grew up in spaces where we were taught that getting help was not something that was desirable, that made us less than, right? Some of the things that we can do is starts with narrative change, right? So some of the things we talk about in our community is that people often think mental health equals mental illness, right? Making sure there's a distinction that is not the same thing. Just like everyone has physical health, we all have mental health. And our mental health fluctuates depending on what we're navigating that day, whether we have a formal condition or not. If there's stressors in our lives, we might be having a difficult mental health day, right? So really kind of creating that space and that kind of comfort level for people to be able to say, you know what, today is rough. I am experiencing some anxiety. I am experiencing stress, and knowing that they won't be shamed or silenced because they're sharing that is really important, right? So I think that's the baseline kind of narrative change we can do wherever we are in leadership and wherever we are in power, right? To think about how do we change that, and how do we also make choices wherever we are, classroom or newsroom, to help create more ease and more connection for our folks who we know may be navigating a variety of different things.
It's making that shift, right, where we look at it in a different way. Your nonprofit says that healing is a birthright. There should be no barriers when it comes to Black healing. Can you speak how you're able to get through to those, to your point, that have really never felt they could reach out to get help, or they felt the stigma of reaching out to get help?
Or the cost of it, too.
That too.
People think, well, wait a minute, I can't afford that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a couple of things I'm thinking about as you bring up the cost. One of the things we do, we have our Black Parent Support Fund. And what it does is give literally money to Black parents who are living with mental conditions or are supporting children living with mental conditions. Understanding that living with depression and anxiety is one thing, living with depression and anxiety without having any income, without having lights, without having food and groceries is a whole different dimension. And so we need to understand that addressing economic disparities is also a part of our mental health and wellness that needs to change, right? That's a really critical piece of the conversation I think we want to really hold. And the other piece I was thinking about, you said other barriers. Some other things that we do is we try to, as opposed to assuming that people need to come find us, we go where the community is. So we've had panels on mental health in the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall. People are coming to the shop and they're just like, oh, there's a conversation about healing and wellness happening. I was not expecting that. We do activations in Lamert Park where we are showing up with yoga in the park. We have gift sets and books that are donated to really have conversation with folks to help them understand that, one, this is not something to be ashamed of. We're all navigating really difficult things right now, and that there are other people who also have these same fears, but also are moving through those fears, are moving with that fear to have the courage to engage and get connection.
But if people do want to reach out to you, they can go to your website, right?
They absolutely can go to our website, www.beam.community.
Right.
We have great resources there, tools. Also, you can find out how you can get on resources if you're looking for funding or also economic support.
There's the information there.
Yeah, today's topic right there as well, beam.community, if you want to talk about today's topic.
Yeah, doing great work, Yolo.
Thanks,
Pleasure to
Yolo.
meet you.
Appreciate
Thank
Thank you so much.